This is a list of the new questions. Notice that education is there, and that's beyond asking whether they could read or write. They were asking, what's the highest grade? I've had a few people in my trees saying, oh yes, their father did graduate from high school, and I found H2 and H3 next to their names, not H4. So it's interesting. Also for my grandmother, who immigrated from Poland when she was 21, she had G7, so she did go to grade school over there, which surprised me. So her family probably had a little more status in the community than my grandfather, who didn't go to grade school. So, and then another new area is residency in 1935. 1, 2, 3, 4 questions. Any guess on why they would care? It's interesting. It's nice for us now. Why would they want to know back then?
City patterns of migration.
Social Security.
I kind of surmise it's because of the Dust Bowl,
Yeah. That's what I guess.
which happened in 1934, 1935, 1936. So they were measuring how many people were affected by that. Well, they got more than what they showed because everybody was measured. So people even from the East Coast moved west, but I also found people in Chicago that moved from Kansas.
Yeah.
So they were affected by the Dust Bowl. They were looking for people, ways to earn money because their farm was ruined. And then the last one, 13 questions on income and unemployment. Again, we get back to that unemployment and income from the Depression. They had no other way of measuring it. So they were measuring it on the census records to gauge how well they had progressed through the Depression. Okay, here's a sample of the page. I've kind of clipped it. It's in the middle of the page. You can see place of birth. They listed the state, but residencies, they have town, county, and state mentioned. So notice that the first one, Ohio, but they were living in Indiana, Lake County.
Harbor? Indiana Harbor?
Indiana Harbor. So there's another place to look for your ancestor. Because this was in a Chicago census.
Yeah, it's near Chicago.
Well, no, the census itself say they were living in Chicago. He was born in Ohio, and in 1935 he was in Indiana. There may be another place for you to look for information on your ancestor. Okay, more births, more marriages, more deaths. That's another county to look in, Lake County. And the same way with the rest of them, New York, is it the state or the town? Here it kind of states that in 35 they were living in New York, New York. So you've zeroed in a little bit. Here's all those questions. How many different ways could they ask the same question? But they did. They were looking for detailed analysis. Most of these involve government programs. So they were looking for detailed analysis of how people were coming out of the Depression. Again, this was the only way they had to analyze it. They didn't have all the statistics being accumulated the way they are today in the economy. Supplementary questions. The best thing I've seen here is the place of birth of the family. That's more than the country. But also down here on question 38, mother tongue, language spoken in the home in the earliest childhood. And this is only 2 people per page. Luckily, my grandfather was one of those on his page. And there's been a family debate on what language was his native tongue. He came out of Hungary, but there was a family oral history to say the family spoke German, and in the supplementary question he did say German. So that leads me to to verify part of the oral history and put more questions on where they came from. Have any of you heard about the Schwaben Germans or Schwaben Hungarians? They were basically Germans that came from the New Ulm area, which is in the southwest corner of Germany. The Empress of Hungary recruited these people, paid them money to migrate to the Banat area or the southern part of Hungary to repopulate the frontier that they had just defeated the Ottoman Empire and drove everybody out. It was kind of depopulated by all the wars there, but she was looking for Catholics, and she found a Catholic German area that she could recruit and put people in there. So I think I'm part of that group, but I haven't had any confirmation. So that's how little things like that can be key. Yes?
Do you have any information on